Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. The Modern Warfare 2 meta here in Season 3 is super competitive, and with that today we are breaking down the new top 10 class setups / the top 10 best weapons to be running right now. Starting first here with, in no particular order, but the STB556. It got a couple of buffs here with Season 3 that made it even more competitive. It was already like borderline one of the better options, and now it's kind of solidified itself as a really good rifle. Real quick before we break down the attachments here and all the other weapons, I want to go over the secondary perks, equipment, all that stuff. This is the same on literally every single one of my classes, so we only have to go over it once here. I always got the combat knife as a secondary. If I die, I respawn, I switch to this, I run with this out so you can get to that choke point faster, then you switch back to your primary. You can pick up a secondary off the ground so easy. You don't really have to waste a spot here with an actual gun that's going to slow you down. Flashes and drill charges are kind of my go-to equipment. Flashes obviously are super powerful. Drill charges to help out with those campers. For my perk package here, pretty standard. Double time and battle hardened is the base perks. Obviously going to help out with the flashes, the stuns and whatnot. Gives you that extra attack sprint duration too. Fast hands, I like the faster weapon swap. I like the faster reload as well. That's nice for playing aggressive. Then quick fix is just so clutch if you are an aggressive player. You're fighting multiple people at once. You get that one elimination and then you're good to go. You're going to regen automatically, which has saved my life more times than I can count. So I really do like that. For the field upgrades, field upgrade pro, I got portable radars and munis. Obviously, if I want a long streak, I want to refill my ammo there, make sure I'm good and set there. If I want that mini UAV, I got the portable radar. It's kind of the best of both worlds, if I'm being honest, so you can't go wrong with either of those. Like I said, that's the same on every single loadout or class setup today. When it comes to the STB here, this setup is primarily focused on helping out kind of all ranges. You could use this close range if you wanted to, mid range or long range, because of just how the multiplayer gameplay functions here with the TTK and the health. Q900 rear grip is going to be for better ADS and sprint to fire. I tuned kind of for the inverse to balance it out and give it some good control at the same time. I, for one, as I'm all the way out in the main menu, cannot stand the AUG platform iron sight, so I have to use the blue dot here for the dive position and faster ADS on those tunes. 7mW laser, better ADS and sprint to fire, just makes it a little bit more aggressive for the close and the mid range here. I tuned to enhance that. The rear guard barrel, this is going to be for better range and velocity, helping out some of the mid to long range, really helping with the versatility of the weapon itself. Tuning to enhance the range and the steadiness. Then the castle compensator, just going to make this thing shoot even straighter. It's already very easy to use. This pretty much eliminates all potential recoil there, so it's going to be very straightforward. I tuned to enhance that recoil even more. The buffs really made this thing even better than it already was, and like I said, it was already very good. So if you haven't tried this out, would highly recommend, because it's honestly pretty fun. Next up, we got the Kastov 762, and this really is like the powerhouse of the rifle category, especially considering we've seen nerfs to the Hemlock and the TAC 56 now. This is feeling very good. A little bit more recoil than those other options, but also better damage, so take that for you know what it's worth. Cronen Mini Pro here yet again, basic blue dot as always. When it comes to optics, use whatever you're the most comfortable with. We go for the furthest eye position and the faster ADS on those tunes as always. X2 rear grip for that better control tuning to really enhance that. High velocity ammo to make it feel a bit more consistent in the long range, like if you're playing ground war or something. That said, high velocity in multiplayer is not nearly as effective as it is in Warzone, so if you wanted to drop this and go for a magazine or go for a barrel, you absolutely could. This is just sort of my preference for the feel there. Edge 47 underbarrel, better stability and stabilization, tuning to enhance that. Then also the Sack and Tread 40, just fantastic for long range control here. And the tune, if it wants to ever load, we got better gun kick control and stabilization on top of the standard recoil control, so it'll be super easy to use. Like I said, you really got to get used to the recoil here, and then after you do that, you're good to go. This thing is gonna fry. Now, following that, we've got one of my favorite weapons in the game right now, the P90. This thing was not touched with the Season 3 update, whereas a lot of other SMGs were nerfed, so inadvertently, this has kind of become the #1 SMG in the game. You might not realize that, but its close range and mid-range TTK is phenomenal. Right there with the fastest TTK options in the SMG category. It also has ridiculously fast movement because you don't have to focus on extended mags or really anything else. You can just focus on control, which is what I do. Q900 rear grip, better ADS and sprint to fire, tuning to maximize that. Behind the face cam, the TAC comb, better ADS and sprint to fire, tuning to maximize that. I don't like the irons. I go for the Cronen Mini Pro blue dot yet again here for the eye position faster ADS. 7mW laser, ADS and sprint to fire, tunes to maximize that. And then just for some consistency, especially if you're fighting mid-range, I do go for the KT85. It'll help out pretty much eliminate all the potential horizontal movement, and then vertical is super easy. And then I tune to maximize the gun kick control and the stabilization there. Like I said, this is kind of my new favorite SMG and arguably the new #1 SMG in the entire game. Another fantastic option post season 3 is the MX9. This actually got a sprint to fire buff. It was already one of the more aggressive and mobile SMGs, and it has a pretty solid TTK too as well, and it's super easy to use. This is probably the easiest SMG in terms of recoil control. So now this has a lot of things going for it. I think a lot of players are going to switch over to the MX9, especially here in multiplayer, where having this 32 round mag is not nearly as much of a hindrance as it is over in Warzone, right? Like, that's totally sufficient for MP action. Q9 Hunter rear grip yet again, better ADS and sprint to fire. C11 riser yet again, better ADS and sprint to fire. I do tune for some stability here with the stabilization, just for some consistency if I'm in a mid-range gunfight, right? Cronen Mini Pro yet again, further side position, faster ADS as always. The S901 barrel on here as well is kind of the best of all worlds. Damage range, movement speed, velocity. You can't ask for much more out of a singular attachment. It's helping out in all the right categories. I tune for the better mobility in this case. So this thing's going to fly. It's got the potential to fry. It's also super easy to use. Definitely worth checking out if you haven't yet. Now, of course, because it is a new seasonal top 10 weapons and setups video, we gotta talk the new DLC weapons, and the Imperium is nostalgia filled. It's the intervention, let's be honest. Now, it's not as aggressive as the intervention. This thing's a little bit slower, which is kind of a drawback. Most of the attachments here really are based around speed to make it a bit more aggressive. The wrapped handle on here, better ADS speed. I'm tuning for the better stability and then the better sprint speed. You might as well have that because aim walking steadiness, not really a huge deal. 7mW laser for the faster ADS speed and the better sprint to fire speed. Tuning to enhance that to make it more aggressive. Now, I don't really like the stock scope, bit too zoomed in for my liking, so I go for the 6.6 times further side position, faster ADS. Whatever scope you are the most comfortable with, always use that one though, of course. I've got the FJX Blast on here behind the face cam. This is for a faster rechambering speed, again, just for aggression. And then I got the Squall 40 rear grip, better ADS and sprint to fire, tuning to maximize that yet again. So this is gonna make it as about as snappy as it can possibly be for quick scoping and make it a bit more aggressive. It's gonna be one hitting, it's got the power, and man, does it feel fun to run around with the quote unquote intervention yet again. Now, as we continue throughout the top 10 here today, quick reminder, if you guys are new to the channel, every day I got you covered with all things going on in COD between MW2, Warzone 2, and DMZ. You'll find all the intel you need right here. So feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications to stay up to date. And if you guys enjoy the video, if you find it helpful, let me know by dropping a like on it as well. Let's try and aim for 2,000 likes on this one. Next up, I got the Chimera, aka the Honey Badger. It's gonna work well as a nice versatile rifle. Super aggressive, so you can use this up close, you can use it in the mid-range. If you wanted to, you could build it for the long range, but really it thrives in like the sniper support close and mid-range kind of area, right? Pretty straightforward, pretty easy to use. I build for a lot of aggression here, which is just how I like to play multiplayer, if you can't tell, right? Better ADS and sprint to fire. I tune for some recoil steadiness for some consistency in the mid-range, and better sprint to fire as well. The Ravage 10 stock, better ADS speed, sprint speed, crouch speed. I tune for the better ADS and stability once more for some consistency. 7mW laser yet again, better ADS and sprint to fire, tunes to match. Tango underbarrel, nice and aggressive, but still going to help out with the recoil and make it easier to use. And in this case, I tune to enhance the control and to make it more accurate in the mid-range, essentially. Then the Vorpal barrel, better range, movement speed, and ADS. 3 super solid pros to have on any attachment, and it works well perfectly for the type of gun and type of engagements we're looking for with the Chimera, right? So better range and also better aim walking speed or strafe speed with the tunes there. Aggressive, great TTK, especially up close, pretty easy to use. All around, very solid rifle. Another super reliable choice, the M4. Been this way since day one, is probably gonna be this on day 2154, right? Like, it's an M4 in every single COD. It's reliable, it's good, it's consistent. Same deal here, right? This is primarily made for mid to long range fights, is like that longer range primary, if you will. I do use the P8 Strike stock though, because this was kind of the go-to build when it was initially being used in the CDL. It makes it aggressive but consistent over range, right? So you kind of got a lot of versatility here. This is really movement based, and I tune for the better ADS and stability. I've got the ZX rear grip for the better control, tuning to enhance that even more. Edge 47 underbarrel for the better stabilization in the mid to long range, tuning to enhance that. Castle compensator pretty much gets rid of all the horizontal bounce. Vertical is left up to you, but it does help out some with that, but it's very straightforward and very easy. Then lastly, the high tower barrel, not necessary, but fun, because it's going to allow you to fry at longer ranges. Whether you're playing ground war, one of the larger 6v6 or 10v10 maps, it's going to work well there especially. So we're tuning to enhance that range and steadiness even more. what can I say, man? It's the M4. We all know this thing is going to be good every single year. We also got the brand new Cronen Squall. This thing is really fun here in multiplayer. Full auto, it's got a bit more noticeable recoil and slightly worse damage, but it's perfectly usable in full auto. I like it in semi-auto though as a true battle rifle where its damage is the best. You can choose how fast you're spamming it. So long as you can shoot it somewhat fast with your trigger finger and you can trace enemies, the thing's gonna fry. It's got the power for sure. X10 rear grip here, better ADS and sprint to fire to make it somewhat aggressive in the close and mid range. Tuning to enhance that. Cronen Mini Pro Optic, per usual, furthest eye position, faster ADS. Ole laser for some aggression as well, although I do tune for the stability here for some of the mid-range fights. Edge 47 underbarrel, better stabilization and stability there for the tunes. Then also sack and shred 40. And keep in mind, this build is going to work well for full auto or semi-auto just because these attachments are going to be focusing on stability and control at the same time. So regardless of how you want to use it, this is sort of a one-size-fits-all style class setup. Now the TAC 56 did see a slight headshot nerf with Season 3. It's still going to be one of the go-to rifles though, without a doubt. I mean, it's low recoil, it's easy to use, it's got the greatest iron sights in the game in my opinion, right? And its damage is still really, really good. Despite the headshot not being as effective as it was last season, it's still going to be a top tier option for sure. This setup is kind of based around aggression and stability. We got the combat rear grip for the better control, tuning to enhance that. High velocity, but same deal again here. If you want an optic, drop high velocity for that. If you want a barrel like the Tundra, which a lot of players like to use, drop velocity for that. You could even throw on a mag if you wanted to. So you can mess around with how you want the gun to feel, but I like the consistency in the mid to long range, tuning to enhance that. Edge 47 underbarrel, once more, same tunes as always here. And sack and shred 40, once again, same deal here too with the gun kit control and stabilization. I do use the Ole laser as that last attachment though, just for like some of the mid-range to make it nice and aggressive with the ADS and sprint to fire. Although I do tune for the inverses of steadiness and aim walking steadiness so that it's still going to be really consistent. So easy to use. Great TTK, you can't go wrong with this thing. And lastly, I do have what I consider to be the #1 gun in multiplayer, the 74U. It's good in the mid-range, it's really good in the close range, it's got the mobility of an SMG, but the power of a rifle, it's the best of all worlds. Thing is a beast. I love it. It's such a fun weapon to use. True tack rear grip for the better ADS and sprint to fire. I tune for the better sprint to fire and slightly better steadiness. R7 stock here, better movement yet again. I'm tuning to enhance that even more. Ole laser, same deal as always with the ADS and sprint to fire. The castle compensator just for some simple recoil control. I do tune to enhance the stabilization and the control here. Then lastly, I got the 209 barrel, better movement speed, better ADS speed, great for making this even more aggressive. I tune for some steadiness, for some of the consistency in the mid range, and the better ADS once more. So this thing is going to fly, it's going to fry in every single sense of that phrase, right? The thing is just so good. Probably my favorite gun in multiplayer. P90's up there though too. And that being said, those are the top 10 best weapons and class setups to be running here in MW2 Season 3. That's gonna wrap things up. If you guys enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like on it. And if you're new here, feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications. That way you can always guarantee you're up to date with everything going on in COD. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy. Have an awesome rest of your day. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.